Hey, hey, Yoshi's back. And of course, he's in the mix of things here, as always, getting his butt kicked. Ah. Oh, that was horrible. Alright, so, new build. And this one is a 1-bar build. Surprise! And what I'm using this time around is a DragonKnight. Yeah! Yeah, you know, we're 4 for 4 here, so I had to go for another one. So DragonKnight makes me 5 for 5 for 1-bar builds. All that's left is Warden, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to figure that one out. Just need a little work on that. With DragonKnight, one of the problems I found was health. So what I did was I went with 34 for Magicka, 30 for health, so that I don't need to heal myself as often. You'll see as I go along here how that plays out. Punching it up to the inventory, same gear I've been running on all these darn builds. I'm using the same gear every time. I am using Mother's Sorrow and Juliano's for armor. Every piece is light with Magicka and Divines, except the chest piece, which I have a heavy set for that. Still Magicka, still Divine. And that's just for a little extra health, as I always say. As far as jewelry goes, it's the Mother's Sorrow set, Magicka Recovery, and Arcane across all 3 items. My weapon, Lightning Staff of Mother's Sorrow, 2,766 magic damage, restores 461 Magicka, so it helps get some of my Magicka back. It's also infused, so I get that benefit more often. Now, the main damage on here is 1335, so you can see this does quite a bit of damage when it fires off. Looking at the next thing here, let's look at the spells we're using, or skills, however you want to call it. I am using Elemental Drain. Now, for this build, I'm really going to have to explain carefully why I use what I do, because it's important to understand all this. Elemental Drain is about getting Magicka back. I get back 300 Magicka every second when I'm damaging enemies. That's important, because I do need to keep the Magicka going on this build. The effect lasts for 20 seconds. It also causes major breach on an enemy, but only one enemy. It reduces their spell resistance by 5280. This is more about fighting the big guys than the little guys. This is for boss fights. But you'll see me using it throughout because I want to keep that Magicka recovery going. Number 2 item, Blockade of Storms. I can't say how much I love this. 1018 shock damage to enemies in a targeted area of 18 by 12 meters. It's big. It does 1018 every second for 12 seconds. Really good. Another thing I'm using, this is new. I haven't used this on my previous builds, and I actually am really liking this. I don't know why I never used it before. Soul Splitting Trap. I only have it at level 2 right now, but it's still pretty beastly. It does 11,000 magic damage, or 6,000 physical damage to a target and any other enemies nearby over 10 seconds. Now, because I'm a Magicka character, it's going to be based on the highest offensive stats. So it's going to be based on my Magicka. So I'm going to be doing 11,000 for every 10 seconds, which is like 1,100 per second. So it's pretty well up there with Blockade of Storms. It has an 8-meter range. Really nice. It also fills an empty soul gem if an affected enemy dies. And the reason I have to laugh at that is I'm already filling gems like crazy. But, you know, why not a little bit extra, right? So, next item, Draw Essence. This is where I get my health back. It sucks in the air around me, deals 1,951 damage to all nearby enemies in an 8-meter range, healing me for 110% of the damage caused. I don't need to tell you, that's pretty good healing. And after 2.5 seconds, provided I can wait that long, I exhale and I deal another 4,142 flame damage to anybody nearby and restore 10%. That restores 10% of the ability's cost for each enemy hit as well. This is huge. This is what makes the build work. And of course, my nice little thing I like to throw in all my builds when I can, Inner Light, increases the Magicka by 5%, and increases the spell crit rating by 2,191. And don't forget the crap button, Thunderstorm. After 2 seconds, it lays down a storm that does 4,585 shock damage every second for 7 seconds. Huge, 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 huge damage. Very good. All right, so that's all the what I have on my bar. And if I look on the back bar, nothing. It's a 1-bar build. Remember, that's the rules. So, going back here and looking at what do we do with the passives. As far as Ardent Flame goes, just take everything. Draconic Power, I'm using Draw Essence there, so take everything. Earthen Heart, I'm not using any of these abilities. Let's see, that benefits Earthen Heart. This one's good. When you cast an ultimate ability, you restore 50 health, 46 Magicka, and 46 stamina for each point of the ultimate cost. Battle Roar I would take. As far as the other two, don't bother. You're not using any Earthen Heart abilities. You will not get any benefit from it. Weapon, Destruction Staff. Take all the passives. Oh, forgot that one. Not no more. I have that one too. Armor, Light Armor. Take all the passives. Heavy Armor, if you choose to have a little bit of heavy armor like I do, use Resolve, Constitution, Juggernaut. Don't bother with the other two. These are only when you have 5 pieces of heavy. So it happens that I had this player geared up that way at one point. Not anymore. World, for soul magic, take all these. Soul Summons is beautiful. Extra life every hour. So you can die once an hour and not lose a single soul gem. That's peachy. Also, Soul Lock, you kill an enemy with a weapon ability, has a 10% chance of automatically filling an empty soul gem. That means every time you kill 10 enemies, you fill a gem. Nice. Very nice. Guild. Fighters Guild. Take Intimidating Presence, Banish the Wicked. Intimidating Presence is great for quests. Banish the Wicked, generate 9 ultimate when you kill an undead, Daedra, or werewolf. Freebie. Mages Guild, just take Persuasive Will. For the quests, forget about the rest. They're not worth it on this build. Racial skills, if they benefit you, take them. They're not going to add a whole lot. If there's something you have to give up on, don't take those. So, next thing we're going to look at is CP. Constellation points. I'm sure it actually means something else, but I call them constellation points. So that's what they're called. So, Tumbling, Shadow Ward, 30 apiece. This will help you with your roll dodge as well as your block. For Underlever, Arcanist, 68 for magic, increase your magic recovery. 75 to increase the magic recovery from heavy attacks. 67, increase your health recovery. I didn't put anything in the tower. Tower is empty. For the Lord, quick recovery 50 to increase the health healing I receive. And we go to here. Hardy, Light Armor, Thick Skinned, and Elemental Defender, all 40. Hardy is going to reduce the damage taken from physical poison and disease damage. Elemental Defender will reduce damage from Flame, Frost, Shock, and Magic. Thick Skin reduces damage taken from damage over time. So this is damage mitigation. Even further, Light Armor Focus increases your physical resistance, in this case, by 3,379, as long as I'm wearing 5 pieces of Light Armor. Really nice bonus. So, Ironclad, which is protects against damage, prevents damage taken against direct damage attacks. I set for 40. Spell Shield 20, which increases my spell resistance. Thermitage, seeing a lot of the damage I do is damage over time. I put 64 in there. I didn't put anything under an Atronach. Some people will argue with that, but that is my feeling for this build. And then the rest of the points went into the Apprentice. 48 in Blessed to increase healing. 56 in Elfborn, which increases critical damage and critical healing. Yeah, we're going to, every time we crit, we're going to get extra healing and extra damage. And Elemental Expert, 56 to increase Flame, Frost, Shock, and Magic damage. And Spell Erosion, 46 to increase spell penetration. Now, remember I said about crit damage. If we look here, this is another one of my crit builds. Mundus Stone is the Thief. And the Thief increases your crit damage. My crit damage is not your crit damage, increases your spell crit percentage. And my percentage is 62.1%. I crit about 2/3 of the time. So, yeah, I'm critting a lot. So, let's have some fun here and play around a little bit. And we'll go over the theory crafting of how to run this build. This is a little weirder a build of mine. Most of my builds come down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4. It's kind of like a waltz, you know. This build, you do that, you're not going to survive very long. You got to play this build smart. So here's how this works. Down your spell bar, item number 1, Elemental Drain. You're going to throw that out first on somebody. Preferably someone that is bigger or someone that you might not attack right away. I don't know. I think, I have not proven it yet, that you get the 20 seconds no matter what, even if the enemy dies, but I'm not 100% sure of that. So you might want to put a wager on picking the least likely person you're going to kill right away to throw this on. Again, I just haven't tested, haven't had time. But you're going to throw Elemental Drain on somebody. Then you're going to throw Blockade of Storms on the floor, and you're going to operate within that area. You want to keep your enemies around you and keep them getting beat up by that storm. And then on top of that, you're going to throw a soul-splitting trap on your floor, and that is going to hit everybody around you as well. So you're doing, first thing you've done is you drop their defenses, and then you threw 2 dots on top of them. And then after that, you're going to use Draw Essence to draw it in. And as soon as you get done drawing that, or when you draw that essence, hit the heavy attack and hold it for the length of the full attack. You will see the flames come out because the draw essence will expel after 2.5 seconds. And then you're going to use Draw Essence again, and then heavy attack. Draw Essence, heavy attack. 3 times. Then you're going to go back to Elemental Drain, Blockade of Storms, Soul-Splitting Trap, Draw Essence, heavy attack, draw essence, heavy attack, draw essence, heavy attack. Now I said you have to play this smart. If you see your health is falling hard, you need to just keep hitting Draw Essence to keep yourself from dying. You will come across this sometimes. You'll also come across the opposite where you can keep the health going, but you're losing the Magicka war and you're running out of Magicka, in which case you're going to have to start with the Elemental Drain to get your Magicka going again, because it doesn't cost anything to throw that spell. And then on top of that, you're going to have to use a heavy attack and start drawing from the enemy. So you're going to see me switch around here a little bit. So let's roll this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, heavy, 4, heavy, 4, heavy, 1, 2, 3. Oh, hurry up, hit 4 or I'm dead. And I'm going to hit 4 a couple times to get my health up. And I made it through. Now, the reason you don't want to just spam the heal normally is with this Draw Essence, after 2.5 seconds you exhale fire. If you spam this, number one, you're using 3,564 Magicka every time you hit the 4 button. Number two is you're not getting that extra damage if you're going to just keep spamming the button. It's useless. Don't even bother. You want to hit it and try to use the heavy attack. And then the heavy attack will take about 2.5 seconds to finish. And when it finishes, you'll see the flames come out from you. And that's when you want to hit Draw Essence again. The only time you change that, again, is if you're losing health faster, you can get it back. Yes, absolutely, hit Draw Essence a few times. But don't get in the habit of doing it all the time, or this build will not work for you, and you'll say, Yoshi, you're an idiot, this build doesn't work, and that's not true. It's never the build, it's the builder. Aha! I know, because I suffer from my own builds. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. Get rolling here. There, I had to hit 4 early that time, because I was getting beat up a little bit. Alright, we'll put 1, 2, 3, 4. He's gone. Now I want to make sure I get my Magicka back, because I know there's some enemies coming up here. Don't want to be caught with my britches down. Here they come. Hit the first guy with number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. And get some... Whoop! I'm getting beat up bad here, so I'm going to hit 4 a few times. And there we go. And as you saw, I almost died there. I had to quick get across the floor so that I was in range, so that I could hit him with the draw essence. So keep in mind, if you're too far away from the enemy and you're dying, there's nothing you can do to get your health back. It's not going to happen. So, you know, be on the boot scoot right away and get over to him, or else you're going to get pummeled pretty quick. Now this area here is pretty simple. As long as I don't wake up the guys on the other side. If I do, then this is going to get ugly real quick. And you're done. Alright. So. Now you'll notice I'm a little low on magic here. So we're going to try to get some Magicka from these guys. There we go. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'm not getting my heavy attacks in. That's why I'm not getting my Magicka back. There we go. Boom, boom. Alright. So we'll pick on our first boss here. We'll throw a little bit of crap down. Boom. And you want to make sure you get rid of these guys pretty darn quickly. You don't want to be fighting everybody on this battle, because this guy can drag you down pretty quick. So, make sure we're healed. 1, 2. I'm going to hit another heal there because he's starting to tear me apart. 3. Get some Magicka back. Heal. Get some Magicka back. Get some Magicka back. Or heal. Heal. Magicka. Oh, I'm taking a lot of pounding here. My goal is to keep my Magicka going and keep my health going at the same time. Because if I can't do that, I'm screwed. So I kind of got to monitor both. And get some Magicka generated again. There we go. So I'm switching my strat up little by little here. Going with what works best. Hit 1. Hit 2, hit 4 because we're losing health. 3, 4, 4, and then draw energy from him. 1, 4, and I'm announcing the numbers instead of announcing the names of these things just because it takes a lot of concentration to keep this going. So forgive me, but you see the numbers below and you see the spells that they're on. You should know what they are by now. But believe it or not, usually this guy is the easiest guy to beat. For this build, he's actually probably one of the most difficult. Because he never stops hurting you. Okay, so here we go into another dangerous area. Here the goal is going to be to shift from enemy to enemy and try to gather them together and eliminate them as fast as possible. And I mean fast. All right, hit him. Get everybody around me. Oh, good. There we go. This is going to get a little crazy here. The important thing is that I don't allow myself to run out of Magicka or enemies. I'm constantly going from one to the other. If you notice, they're hitting me pretty darn hard here. And at this point, I believe I have survived. Boom. So you can see that was pretty intense. That's why I have the health at 15k like I do. And the thing I remind you is I am not buffing with any food or drink. So if I added those, this would be even easier. I try to make this difficult just to prove that you don't have to have all those extras to make this build work. So this part is going to be kind of scary. We'll see if we can make it through here. Probably going to have to spam the essence drain. We'll see what we can do here. And I'm trying to make sure every time I hit essence drain, I have everybody around me so I get max health out of this. And the funny thing is, I never ran out of Magicka that whole time. I was spamming it constantly. Didn't run out of Magicka. You just never know how these things are going to go. But that worked out really nice. So that's one problem that I thought could occur for this build that did not, thankfully.
There are easier ways to prove your bravery, mortal.
This guy is just a matter of wearing him down. He's not hard to beat. So we will 1, 2, hit 3 times, and then we'll go back through the count again. 1, 2, 3. Get a little health. Da, 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 da. Now, some of you might ask, why aren't I using a shield as part of this build, or some kind of protection? Because you know there is a spell that that's available to this class. It's actually a pretty good shield. Protects against a lot of damage. The problem with that whole concept, though, is even though you can do that, it makes you more of a tank than it does a DPS, which kind of dooms you when you're trying to run a dungeon on your own and you want to run it in a worthwhile time. You don't want to spend an hour getting through a dungeon on your own. It's just not fun. So the idea is to make a build that we can on a good day be able to get through it definitely in less than a half hour. With the ideal goal is to try to get through a dungeon like this in 15 minutes. Because then you can go through several dungeons all night on your own. I played that game where you're on a game and you're playing like this character where you have to beat the impossible boss, and you find out that if you hide behind this rock, you can shoot him once every 3 seconds and then hide again, and then you can eventually kill him all by yourself. But when you spend 8 hours doing that, is it really worth your time? Yes, you get to say you beat the big boss, but in the end, you're just so exhausted you can't even enjoy it. So, one of the things I always try to do with my builds is I try to make them so that there is an enjoyment factor to it. You do feel like when you get done that you got something out of it. So that's the reason I do a lot of what I do. And you notice, again, I am constantly switching up strategies here. There's nothing where I'm just doing the same thing over and over again. I'm constantly changing up. Sometimes I'm using heavy attacks. Sometimes I'm using Drain Essence. Sometimes I'm going right back through the rotation. I'm just all over the place. But the important thing is, if you use common sense, you can make this build work. This is not about being a rocket scientist. This is about situational awareness. Just like, when the floor turns red, knowing enough not to stand on it. Like there. And also knowing enough that when you're up against a clan fair, you don't just keep moving constantly in a circle around it. You have to change direction sometimes, because if you don't, it will jump on you. And it hurts. So you got to keep it off guard constantly. And that's what we're doing. And he's dead. Alright. So, onward and upward. Next thing we're going to be looking at here is the boss that I have to say I always dread with every build. I only have one character that I can absolutely annihilate him every time and him not have a chance whatsoever, so I'm not very hopeful on this build. I have a feeling I might have to go through this a few times, but I might get through it the first time. I don't know. We'll find out. That's the fun of a new build. You know, you try it out, and you know, if it looks good, then you put it up against the acid test. So here's the acid test. We're going to run in, we're going to throw the ultimate, and start killing everything. And what I want to do is catch as many as I can right inside this thing, and then get everybody to come to me. And then just drain them. Drain. My goal is to kill as many of these guys as fast as I can. And I am just spamming drain right now. And hoping I don't run out of energy here. And I just did. But I think I'm going to be okay. There we go. Thankfully, once you get down to this guy, he doesn't do a whole lot of damage. You just have to worry about him bringing out one of his friends. You know, as long as you're careful, this should you know, be a win every time. If I get rid of him, Clanfair will go away, so I'm going to focus on him. Oh, right. He's gone. So yeah, made it through in the first time. Actually, considering such, the build and such, I made it through pretty quick. So, let's go in this next area here. We're just about at the end. Da-da-da-da-da. I don't know why I sing to myself. I sing horribly. But it doesn't matter. We're not here for that. We're here to watch some carnage. Yes! Wrong choice. Yep. One thing that's really nice is when that extra flame pops out like that. If you are in the right place at the right time, you can kill quite a few enemies with that. It's just a matter of planning it. And as you work through the build, you get better at it. This next room is another one of those that is normally easy, but a little more difficult for this build. You want to get rid of the imps first. Again, I always recommend that for this room. Because these guys can make your life just downright miserable. And the reason being is they just shoot fire right across the floor, and they'll catch you really quick if you're not paying attention. So the imp's gone. Now we deal with the big guy and his little friends, which, I'm sorry, but these skeletons, I don't consider them enemies. They're just ridiculous. Like, they just spawn and they die instantly. It's just not even worth my time. Throw the ultimate on him. And I probably could have used 2 ultimates in the last fight. I think I was already at 100 on that fight, but I always like to save an ultimate for this one. Just because, not because this guy is tough, because it allows me to get through this quicker. Because that's always my goal, is I'm always trying to do speed runs. I want to get through on my own as fast as I can. Because to me, that's my marker of success. You know, how quickly can I use my build to get through a different area? And I know there's just things I could do to get even faster, where I could drag enemies to other locations and then kill them all at once. It's not something I prefer to do, because then you have to get into the old figuring out how many enemies is too many and all that garbage, and it's too much mental work. So I speak out of both sides of my mouth when I say, you know, I like to speedrun, but at the same point, you know, I'm not doing anything to make it really fast. I'll allow that to rest to you. If anybody wants to do a real true speedrun and then with one of these builds, these one-bar builds, and then forward it to me, I'll be more than happy to post it for you. Alright, so let's get rid of these guys. Gone. Again, I found myself going low on health there, and immediately I started spamming Drain Essence. Got me right back to the point where I could, again, run comfortably. Ha! You missed me! Now this is the part I don't like, and the reason I don't like this is if I'm going to die, it's typically going to be here, and it's so stupid. But these guys just have it in for me. So let's see if we can get through this without dying this time. Nope. But like I said earlier, you have a mulligan. You can die once every hour for free. So we'll use it right here. It's a pity. I almost made it through. I almost did. So let's plan on how we're going to get through this. We have one guy there, we have one guy there, and we have one guy there. And I think we have another one there. I am going to go after these two first. Three. Correction. And actually all the better. This time I'll make it through, I'm sure. What hurts you here is you're getting not as much health back in this situation, only because these guys are all scattered around. They don't come up on you like a regular melee character would. So that does make it a little more difficult to keep running around getting your health. But as you can see, you can get through it. Okay. There's a nice little fight that occurs up here. This is another place that you could die. You have to be really careful here. Again, it's really nice when you can wait the 2.5 seconds for the extra pop. But if you can't, go ahead and hit the 4 again and, you know, get your health back. Don't die stupidly. It just doesn't make sense. Oh, well. Don't want to waste a lot of energy on you. Okay. So this brings us up to the final boss. Yes, it's me. You don't know how. You say this to every time. I get sick of hearing it. So we're just going to have fun beating up this guy and playing around with him. And again, when you get up, always drain essence. Because if you don't, he'll run up and just kill you. So, and then when you're running away from him, get your Magicka back. Block what you can, dodge what you can. I'm not a good dodger. Never was. So, not worried about it. Not a dodger fan. There you go. I can block. Though that's arguable sometimes too. Now, if you turn really fast on him, he kind of loses you, and he doesn't know where to go. But eventually he figures it out, and then he hurts you. And when he does that, that's a good time for you to get your Magicka back. Because for a pause for a moment, he does nothing to you. But the nice part is, every time he knocks you down, he'll come right over to you and invite you to slap him on the head again and get your energy back. Nice little Magicka recovery. And this is a nice little time to recover too. And all I'm doing is just wearing him down. He will die, I promise. Hopefully before I do. Getting there. Whoop. I'm gonna throw the ultimate here on him. If I can get him to stay in the spot. Of course not. There we go. Absorb some of that. And he's almost dead. And if you notice, this build does not do a lot of damage, so it takes a long time to wear down a big guy like this. This is more a tank build, to be honest. Call it a Magicka tank build, if you will. But the point is that you can solo a dungeon, and you can do it in relatively decent time. So there you go. I finished the dungeon. To my memory, only died once, which means it was a free death. There you go. So that's the build. I hope you enjoy it. And most certainly, if you like the videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're going to work on some more. I still have a warden I have to work on. It's going to take a little bit of time, but I'm going to get that as well. So we'll work on the 1-bar warden next. Thank you, and have a great day.